Shohei Ohtani and the Seattle Mariners, a match made in heaven, and there is now a brand new trade rumor out there for the Mariners with Shohei Ohtani. What it would take from The Athletic, what the trade would look like from the Mariners to the Angels for Shohei Ohtani, two-way star. And shortly after this article was posted on The Athletic, Perry Manassian of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim said the Angels will not trade Shohei Ohtani this offseason. Keyword here, this offseason. But that doesn't mean they're not going to trade him in 2023 at the beginning of the season, maybe even at the trade deadline, depending on if the Angels are out of it. So I think we need to take a look at what Corey Brock said the Mariners could trade to the Los Angeles Angels for one of the best players in all of baseball. First, a little bit of backstory on Shohei Ohtani and the Mariners. This is a long-standing marriage between the Mariners and Shohei Ohtani. They were, I believe, runner-up for Shohei Ohtani in the bidding for him when he was posted from Japan. The Angels won out getting Shohei Ohtani, and then the two-way star was basically a rival of the Mariners for the last 5 years. Shohei Ohtani cited that he wanted to go to a team that did not already have a large Japanese presence, one that had not had its Japanese star yet. Obviously, the Mariners had Hisashi Iwakuma, they had Ichiro Suzuki, they had Kazuhiro Sasaki, they had plenty of Japanese stars, and they're the most linked team to Japan in all of baseball. Anytime a player is coming over from Japan, the Mariners are linked to him. Take Kodai Senga, for example. We'll have a video on Kodai Senga later on in the offseason. So, from Corey Brock, this is the deal that he said it would take for the Mariners to land Shohei Ohtani. The Mariners trade Emerson Hancock, Chris Flexen, Juan Ten, Adam Macko, Gabriel Gonzalez, Kyle Lewis, Victor Labrada, and Tyler Locklear to the Angels for Shohei Ohtani. This would be one of the most insane deals in baseball history, as the Angels would be getting 9 players for one. It would be a 10-player deal where the Mariners only get one of those players in return. I think, now don't quote me on this, as I'm just saying this off the top of my head, this would be the most players ever going to one team in a trade. Now, while I'm under the impression it would be stupid for the Angels to not trade Shohei Ohtani at this point, let's look at how he has done over the past year and see just how well he'd fit for the Mariners. As a hitter, a DH, Shohei Ohtani played in 157 games, almost the entirety of the season. He hit 34 home runs, 95 RBIs. He had a batting average of 273, OBP of 356, and slugging of 519, with an OPS plus of 145. He was an all-star, and he very easily could win MVP in any non-Aaron Judge setting a baseball record year. Shohei Ohtani's WAR in 2022 was 9.6, which is really good, and I feel like it could even be higher. Now, the fun part about Shohei Ohtani is, even though we just looked at his hitting stats, now we get to look at his pitching stats. Shohei Ohtani went 15-9 with a 2.33 ERA. He pitched in 28 games, 166 innings, struck out 219 batters, and had an ERA plus of 172. His strikeout per 9 was 11.9, and his strikeout per walk was nearly 5. You guys don't need me to tell you how good of a player Shohei Ohtani is. You don't need me to tell you that he is probably one of the best players in the history of baseball, and he has done stuff that has not been done and even was never done by Babe Ruth. The only problem with this Shohei Ohtani deal, are you ready for it? He is signed through 2023, so he is a free agent at the end of next year. He has a 1-year, $30 million deal. He'll get paid $30 million as one of the best hitters and best pitchers in baseball, which is more than a bargain. But again, he will be a free agent at the end of the year. Now, Corey Brock specifically states one important caveat. For the Mariners, this deal is only done with the intention that Ohtani signs a long-term deal with the team. But for the sake of the argument, we're going to look at the players the Mariners would give up really quickly and see if this is enough for Shohei Ohtani and would we make this deal. First off, we have Mariners top prospect Emerson Hancock, who is 23 years old currently. He's a right-handed starting pitcher who played in AA Arkansas this year, putting up a 3.75 ERA with a 1.2 whip, striking out 92 batters in 98 innings. Emerson Hancock is hopefully going to be the next George Kirby, the next Logan Gilbert. But Emerson Hancock did struggle a little bit this year at AA, which just would, I'm not shocked that would happen. He looked so good in the Future Stars game, however. Next, we have 28-year-old Chris Flexen. We all know Flex by now. He has a 1-year deal with the Mariners in 2023. Flex had a 3.73 ERA and 137 innings pitched. He struck out 95 batters, as well as having an ERA plus just below league average at 99. I honestly fully expect Flexen to be traded this year, so I guess if we're doing it for Shohei Ohtani, so be it. Next, we have Juan Ten, still 22, almost 23 years old, which blows my mind. I feel like he's been around forever. He's a former top prospect for the Mariners, and in 2022, he played for 2 teams. He had a 4.5 ERA. He only pitched in 12 innings for the Mariners this year. year and had a 1.5 whip. He struck out 16 batters this year in those 12 innings. Soon to be 22-year-old Adam Macko is a left-handed pitcher for the Seattle Mariners. And in 2022, he had a 3.99 ERA in 38 innings pitched. He ended up striking out 60 batters in those 38 innings pitched. So he's a really good strikeout pitcher with a 1.383 whip. Soon to be 23-year-old Victor Labrada is a center fielder, outfielder for the Mariners. He bats left and throws left. In 2022, he played an A-ball and high A-ball in 123 games. He hit 251, 347, 401. He ended up hitting 12 home runs. Former Rookie of the Year Kyle Lewis is an outfielder for the Seattle Mariners. He is 27 years old and has not really played a whole lot for the Mariners in the past few years due to injury. In 2022 with the big league club, Kyle Lewis only played in 18 games. He hit 143, 226, 304, hitting 3 home runs. In 2021, he played in 36 games, hitting 246, 333, 392, while also hitting 5 home runs. Kyle Lewis, I love him to death, but I think I'm okay giving him up in this deal. Tyler Locklear is a corner infielder for the Seattle Mariners, almost 22 years old. He was selected in the 2022 draft this year, so he's relatively new to professional ball. In 2022, he hit 285, 366, 504, while hitting 7 home runs with 31 RBIs in just 31 games. Not gonna lie, that's pretty impressive for a guy coming right out of the draft. And for some reason, Baseball Reference just doesn't have Gabriel Gonzalez on here at all. So we'll just look at what they said for The Athletic. Corey Brock said, don't sleep on Gonzalez, who hit 321 and 2 minor league stops as an 18-year-old this season. Hancock and Gonzalez are among the Mariners' top 5 prospects. So he's basically Julio, just, 5 years later. In a trade for Shohei Ohtani, you were getting one of the best players in the history of baseball. Shohei Ohtani is everything you could ever want in a player, except for the fact that he's a free agent after this year. And giving up all these players definitely hurts. Just like Corey Brock said, Emerson Hancock and Gabby Gonzalez are both top 5 prospects for the Seattle Mariners, and it would hurt to give them up. With that being said, if you get Shohei Ohtani, you're really pretty much a lock for the playoffs next year. This would be a prove-it move for the Seattle Mariners. This is, hey, we made the playoffs. We are going all in now on making the playoffs again and again every single year. The only problem is, again, losing Shohei Ohtani in 2023 at the end of the year. Looking at a lineup with Shohei Ohtani in it, just because why the heck not? Of course, we don't know who the Mariners could also sign in free agency, but as of right now, probably have Julio leading off playing center. I would honestly bat Shohei Ohtani second or third in the lineup, and then basically everything we've seen from there on out. We know Ty France is going to be in there. We know Cal Raleigh, so on and so forth. We've already looked at a few lineups, so I won't keep them going for you, but I think I would bat Shohei Ohtani 2 or 3 in your lineup, and I would have him start opening day for the Seattle Mariners. Luis Castillo, I think, would be fine starting the second game of the season. Would I make this deal for Shohei Ohtani? I don't think I would. I know. You guys are like, Colton, what? You just told us how you were going to make this deal. Listen, for 1 year of Shohei Ohtani and the possibility of losing him in free agency after that, because he's probably going to command one of the biggest contracts in baseball history, and if you can't extend him, you're in big trouble. In that scenario, you cannot let Shohei Ohtani get to the open market. So what the Mariners could do instead is wait a year. Wait a year for Shohei Ohtani to hit the open market and then try to sign him as a free agent. I don't see why Shohei Ohtani wouldn't want to come to Seattle, but maybe he still feels the way he did before about former Japanese players being a star for a different team. Shohei Ohtani has already cemented himself as one of the best players in baseball. He would very quickly show up at the very top of every single list for the Seattle Mariners, both hitting and pitching. And Shohei Ohtani is the ultimate player the Mariners could get. But once again, Perry Manassian said they are not going to be trading him this offseason. Again, does not mean that he's not going to be traded at the beginning of the year at the trade deadline next year, but of course, then the package would probably be a little bit different at the trade deadline. Bajovians, would you make this trade for Shohei Ohtani? I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say in the comments down below. And if you want to look at our best free agent targets for the Mariners, go ahead and click on the video on screen now. I appreciate you guys watching this one, and go Mariners.